Good morning, folks. Cowboy Bob here at Heartline Ranch. I thought today I'm gonna let some of the horses out. We'll kind of show you how we feed them ourselves, and everybody has a different way. We found this works good for us, and we wanted to bring out our uh, our only Missouri Fox Trotter, and Foxy, and let everybody meet her. This should be a lot of fun. She's a really great horse. So
She's a lovable baby.
yes, she is. She is amazing. When we got her, the owner that had her before us liked skinny horses, and so when we got her, in my view, she was
Oh my God, she
she
was
was really underweight.
she was skin and bones.
You could see all her ribs, everything. So I wouldn't let anybody ride her for the first 2 months
Yeah.
while we tried to put weight on her. And as usual, as anyone knows that's had to do that, when you have a horse that has had feed challenges and they're get down skinny like that, it takes a long time to build their weight back up. They don't just gain it right away. You think, wow, you just feed them food and they'll just start packing it on. And, well, they do gain, but it just takes time. It's not a good thing. You see how we do this? You look at different places and everybody's got a different way of doing it.
I'm going to pan out and show you the horses as they're in their stalls. There's Lacan. And there's Mr. Slim. You'll meet him later. And there's Miss Lizzie. They're stealing hay back and forth from each other. Here's our Foxy. And to pan on down, there's Shazani and Bunny and Oreo. You've met Shazani already. Bunny and Oreo, you'll meet them in a little while. And this is our Foxy. She's such a sweetheart.
She had visions of taking off.
Whenever we're done feeding them here in the arena, the big thing, or in their stalls, is to take them down to get their water. And this helps us get them easier when we're taking rides. But it also ensures that they each get the food that they need. And now that you can see Foxy, she's our black beauty. She's just beautiful.
We make sure at least one time a day they get fed in a stall where the other horses have limited access to their food.
I'm going to go ahead and back up a little bit and show her.
It does always amaze me when you put the food in there. Somehow or another, some of it ends up in the stall next to them because they take their heads
They scooch them around.
And pretty soon half their food's in the other stall. I don't understand that, but at least this way we can kind of control who gets what food, so that some of them have different needs. They need more food.
Now Foxy's our oldest one. She's 23. The reason we know that is that she's a registered fox trotter, so we have her papers and have a birth date on her. We don't say that because that makes her more important. We just say that because that's part of her uniqueness, is how beautiful she is.
Well, you see how she's filled in? You can't see her ribs anymore.
And her back end is interesting to me. Their legs are longer and thinner. Her back end is definitely not a quarter horse. She's got that higher bone on the hip. She's enjoying her water right now.
Well, and I'll tell you something about these Tennessee walkers and Missouri fox trotters. They all have a little bit of a gait, but the biggest thing that I find that's amazing about them, besides their temperament, is how fast they walk. She's the fastest walking horse we have. I always thought Shazani was too fast, My goodness, she makes Shazani look like an old woman. You know, she goes out, and next thing you know, she's 50 yards ahead of everybody. And she wasn't running, she's just walking, and she's walking fast. So the biggest key to riding her is you just have to get her not to walk so fast.
Boy, is she sweet.
Yes, she is. She's one of the more lovable horses that we have.
We love our herd. We have a lot of real mellow, sweet, lovable horses. I'm going to stand back a little ways so you can see how she moves. She's so graceful. She's so easygoing. When we take her places, she just waits. She's so good about placement of her head.
Okay, now as you can see, this is the first time this has ever happened. Since we've lived here, we've never had this much moisture in a year before. And we aren't sure what this plant is, but we know it's green, and we know for a fact that the horses love it. So, there's been an outbreak of it all over, and even in places that there's not supposed to be anything. Like inside the round pen, it's normally pretty barren in there. But right now, it's got quite a bit of that grass, so we like to let everybody come out. She's in a hurry already. You see?
Yeah, she wants to eat that stuff.
She wants to walk so fast. Come on, get over there.
So right now we're taking her to the indoor arena. I'm sorry, indoor arena. That's my brain is on that. To the round pen because we've got an overgrowth of those plants. So we're taking the horses in there to let them graze on it since they like it so much. Before we pull it up. Kind of our own version of recycling. Free feed. When she first came to us,
you notice when I bring my horse in, I leave the lead rope on a lot of times and just drop it on the ground. Some people say they don't like to see that, but I'll tell you what, I haven't found a horse yet that hadn't figured out how to walk with it. And it saves a lot of time and trouble sometimes when you want to leave. Woo! Yeah.
somebody just
Woo.
let one.
Man, am I glad I'm outside. You don't know what you're missing. Probably nothing you'd want to you'd enjoy sharing.
I just walked behind her. It was whew.
Oh man. But as you see, they love these plants. And I don't know what they are. We've never had them before. We've never, but this new wave of moisture that we had this year, this is what happens. Hey sweetheart, how you doing, huh? Hey, you want to stay? Raise your head a minute and say hi to everybody.
I'm going to bring her in.
Better
so you
do
can
it quick,
see her
because I don't
face.
plan on being. And she's beautiful. She's
such
just
a
wonderful.
sweetheart.
And she's sweet as she can be, and anybody can ride her. You just gotta be willing to walk fast.
Well, she has some issues with the mounting block. She doesn't always like to stand at the mounting block.
You know, lately she's done pretty good with
She
it.
has, yeah. She's such a sweetie. When we first got her, she was kind of shy of people. And so I started bringing her in here and letting her graze and walking around with her. And actually at the time, we didn't have any plants in the round pen. And she didn't even know what a treat was. She didn't know what carrots or apples were. So we started rewarding her with those. She picked up on it pretty quick.
Yeah, they all do.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many. You know, we've had several horses that came here that have never had a treat, and it's that kind of interesting because when you hold your hand out, most of the other horses, they bite up behind it so they make sure they get all of it. You know.
Yeah.
And she didn't. She sniffed it. She didn't know if she wanted to try one or not. Finally, one day she did. I guarantee you that was a revelation to her.
You watched her eyes open up real big.
Well, after that, we brought out a carrot. She'd take it. She decided they were pretty tasty. Bring on an apple. She decided they were pretty tasty.
Here, you hold this. I'm gonna go look up on this.
She basically thinks anything that we feed her out here is pretty tasty. And I think she's probably right. We try to give them. We pride ourselves in taking care of our horses and make sure they get lots of treats and lots of loving, lots of attention, a lot of riding.
It's so nice to touch her here and have her.
And that's something,
Smooth.
you just can't believe how skinny she was. And what was hard about it is she was in a good home and they had tons of grass. And they just like to keep her skinny. They like their horses really thin. And, you know, I try not to get too opinionated with other people because, you know, I'm sure I do things different than some people agree with. But I gotta tell you, why would you want a horse skinny?
I want to walk her around like I see her with it.
All right, she's gonna walk her around. There she is. Now, one of the things you notice is well, you can't hardly tell in here because normally when these fox trotters walk, they got a little bob with their head that's kind of cute to watch if you haven't seen them before. You know, I hadn't even paid attention, Corey, the last couple of weeks. You know, I'll bet she's gained 100 pounds the last 2 weeks.
Oh, I think she has, yeah.
She's about where she needs to be now.
Yep.
0 top line.
She's got such a beautiful long mane and tail.
Isn't she wonderful?
Yeah. She's so beautiful. And now, when people come up to the fences to see the horses, when our campers come up, she's one of the first ones to the gate to be sweet to them. And
Yeah.
she lets the little kids pet her. She even puts her head way down so the little kids can pet her. She just loves people.
Yeah, she loves attention. And I tell you what, she's a very smooth ride. You can't believe how nice she rides.
She
It's
had
amazing.
a real bad cut on her leg when we first got her. And now you can see the fur is healing up on it. We're not sure what happened because it happened.
Oh yeah, down there at the bottom.
Yeah, it happened before we got her. Let me move.
Yeah, I forgot about that. But you
And
can barely
it's been
see
healing
it.
for a year now. But you
So-
can hardly see it now, and she doesn't favor it at all. You know, you
Nope.
never know quite when you rescue a horse what you've got. And that's one reason why next week we're going to be filming over at Project Spirit with Connie and Ben. Because we want you to see what all they do. We have so many rescued horses ourselves and know how wonderful you feel when you see them rejuvenate and get strong and healthy. There's just nothing like it. I mean, it's wonderful when you rescue dogs or any animal that's been suffering. But so many times with horses, people don't really know what to do to help. And Ben and Connie have it down. Boy, they have it down real good with Project Spirit. I know she's got a couple of horses that are being adopted out today, so they don't just hold them; they adopt them out.
No, and they do a great job.
Yeah.
I'm excited about going over there next week. We don't get over there very often because we're pretty busy here at the ranch, and it's always exciting to get over there and see all the horses and what they do and how they do, and to hear the different horses' stories. I mean, it's just fascinating. Now, obviously, as people follow us, you catch on that we're not the place you go for the registered horse that's gonna be worth $50,000 because of, you know, the magnificent lines and great heritage. You know, that's not what we're about. We like trail riding horses. We like that. We don't like nags necessarily, but we try to find out. We try to find a horse that's had kind of a rough life, and then wasn't taken very good care of, and then we bring them over here and we spoil them to death. And the only thing that they have to do, basically, is 4 to 5 months of the year they have to take a few rides with people, and I think that's a fair trade. And we baby them. And you don't see any skinny horses on our ranch. That doesn't happen. We only use the best hay we can find. We use something now that's got a grass and alfalfa and one other mixture. What was that? The other hay? It's got grass and Timothy. It's got a little Timothy in it. And orchard grass, and they seem to be doing really well with it. It's got a 15% protein content.
Then we give them each a scoop of oats and black oil sunflower seeds.
Yeah, we used to give them grain, but you know, some of these grains, and we found that they got hot. And they wouldn't want to. What I mean by that, they weren't sweating, but when you go to ride them, they'd be wanting to. They'd be wanting to ride too fast, and they're kind of like, yeah, it's like a sugar high. They'll be almost shaky, you know.
So we avoid anything with molasses in it.
Oh yeah, Lord, yes. We don't want anything.
I'm hypoglycemic, and I have to watch what they eat. Like I have to watch what I eat. I can't eat a lot of sugar. I drink stevia in my coffee, and I balance out the protein I have with anything sweet I have. I have to be very careful of it. When I think about it that way for the horses, they're that way too. If they ride a lot, they seem to balance out their diet better. But they don't need something that's going to jazz them up and make them nervous acting. I don't think they even feel good when they have that.
Well, and also, it's funny. I've been doing this for years, and yet I still follow and watch after other trainers and see what they do. Why do they do it? And then sometimes I try techniques that they do, and sometimes I don't. And sometimes I really do always pay attention to how everybody feeds their horse, because I just think that's the foundation. If they're not fed well, they're just not going to do well. And one of the people that has influenced me a great deal is Julie Goodnight. I really respect what all she's done. And one of the things that she always talks about with her feed is she gives her horses hay and oats. And she thinks that that's a great combination for any of the horses. So we did that for quite a while, and then we had a winter time come that was pretty tough, and some of them lost a lot of weight. So we put them on a grain diet with some grain in it, and it just didn't work. And it was a grain that everybody says, "Oh, this doesn't make your horse hot." Well, it did ours. That's all I can say. And you could see a real difference. They were more surly. They weren't as easy. They wouldn't stand and be petted much anymore. It just was a different horse. So we go back, and now I add something to the oats, which is interesting. Shows I will take my ways of doing things from most anywhere. I got this idea. A lot of people that have race horses, they give them black sunflower seeds, because that makes their coat really shiny. So we put black sunflower seeds in with the oats, and boy, they really like it. But I'm telling you, they got to be the black olive type, because if you just black oil rather, because if you just put a regular sunflower seed in there, they won't eat it. They'll pick out the grain, or they'll pick out the oats, but they won't touch that.
Well, there's some of the sunflower seeds that are mostly husked. They're like black and white, and they spit them out in the shove them around and say, oh, the birds can eat that.
Yeah, it's amazing. They are picky about it. But excuse me, I've been getting over a cold. But they do it does make a great difference for them. And anyhow, this is what they look like. If you go to our website at heartlineranch.com, you'll see pictures of her when she first got here, and she doesn't look anything like this. This has really helped her. So this is our baby Foxy, and tomorrow we're going to introduce one of our newest horses, little Oreo, and I'm telling you, you will just love her personality. She's amazing. So this is Bob and Corey Crutcher from Heartline Ranch saying adios.